and welcome to BENUE Television News at 7. I am Teve Agabi. On the headlines, BENUE government partners World Bank to aid farming communities. Federal government to meet labor over minimum wage. Hunter Biden on trial in gun purchase. The BENUE state government, in conjunction with the World Bank, has presented 33 tractors and 380 million naira checks to farming communities in the state. Governor Hyacinth Elia, in company of the task team leader of the World Bank to the state, Dr. Joy Agene, made the presentation Sunday at the Agro-Climatic Resilience and Semi-Arid Landscape Agricultural Office in Makudi. Correspondent Emmanuel Akula reports that the incentives are to assist the farmers undertake climate-smart agricultural activities in the state under the Community Revolving Fund Scheme of the Agro-Climatic Resilience and Semi-Arid Landscape Scheme. The report.
At the inception of the present administration in Benue State under Governor Hyacinth Elia, agriculture has been given due attention to revive the food basket of the nation. The state government is taking deliberate steps in this regard through partnerships with government and non-governmental organizations. This gathering is as a result of such collaborations to assist farming communities in Benue State to improve food production. Governor Hyacinth Elia caused a tape to mark official commissioning of these agricultural incentives.
With the glory of God, these tractors that we are commissioning here, please God, to be used judiciously for the farm growth of the state, to keep our baskets full to capacity, and to keep encouraging our farmers now and always. Amen.
The governor, who has already paid 1 billion naira as counterpart fund for the agriculture program, reaffirms his administration's commitment towards providing the needed support for the program to continue to thrive in Benue for the overall good of Benue people. He pronounces the immediate creation of agriculture as a new agency of government in the state for the purpose of knowledge and skills transfer, while urging the beneficiaries of the Community Revolving Fund to exercise diligence and prudence in managing the resources. Father Elia assures that the tractors commissioned will benefit over 33,000 households in the state annually.
The people of Benue State appeal to the World Bank through agriculture to facilitate the creation of access roads linking farmers to markets, as this will reduce post-harvest losses, connect rural farmers to buyers, and expedite the delivery of goods and services across the state.
A senior environmental specialist at the World Bank Nigeria office, who is also the task team leader for the agriculture project, Dr. Joy Agene says the team is in the state to make assessment of the project to identify areas of support, declaring that Benue has no bottlenecks. A discovery, she explains, is an indication the program has so far recorded great success in the state. Dr. Agene, in company of the National Project Coordinator for the agriculture project, Dr. Abdul Hamid Umar, announces that Benue stands to gain more from the program, urging the government to continue to strengthen the needed institutions in order to benefit more.
Based on the ground mission and support, we can confirm that the disbursement of $6.6 million that Benue Agriculture have assessed have been used for the intended purposes.
State Project Coordinator Benue Agriculture Project, Victor Ama, in an overview of the project in the state, says the agriculture program seeks to, among other things, address the challenges of land degradation and climate change in northern Nigeria on a multidimensional scale, increase agricultural production, reduce poverty, and improve standard of living with financing from the World Bank. According to Mr. Ama, the project that covers the 19 northern states and the FCT became effective in June 2022 and will end in March 2028, targeting enhancing the resilience of communities and to improve livelihoods. The benefiting farming communities in the first phase are Wurukum, Wadata, North Bank, Modern Market, Adeke, Bagbera, Branch Atse, Ute, Bayongo, as well as high-level township community of Makudi and Vandika local government areas. Emmanuel Akula, BENUE Television News, Makudi.
The National Management Unit of the Agro-Climatic Resilience and Semi-Arid Landscape AgriSal project has restated its commitment to facilitating the provision of potable water for rural communities. They gave the assurance Saturday during an inspection visit of some proposed rehabilitation dams in Gwewe's local government as well as Otukpo local government areas. Our correspondent Winifred Yoso was there and brings us this report.
It is the first day of work for representatives of the World Bank and the National Management Unit of AgriSal project. The team heads to Naka Town in Gwe West and Adoka in Otukpo local government areas on an inspection of the Naka Earth Dam and Udabi Water Dam for possible intervention. At the palaces of De Tioshin in Naka and Alegu of Adoka, project team task lead AgriSal, Dr. Joy Agene, explains that the proposed dams in their localities for rehabilitation will serve as source of livelihood for the rural communities, announcing that because of the challenge of potable water in the areas, borehole projects will commence as soon as possible.
The dam, proposed dam, we've assessed it. We cannot for sure say that we are going to proceed with it because there are some information we need to check. But be rest assured, whether we proceed with the dam or not, that this community will have access to drinking water. This community will benefit from the revolving fund. This community will be mobilized to be climate resilient, just like with other communities across various states and the northern Nigeria. We are going to do a hydrological study to understand the groundwater, understand the aquifer, and see potential for also borehole that really give us pure and potable drinking water, because this intervention is long-term.
De Tioshin Chief Daniel Abomte and Alegu of Adoka Chief Samuel Onu comment on dredging of the dams in their areas, saying the move will encourage dry season farming. They excitingly convey their joy over the work being carried out by AgriSal, with the hope that the borehole project will commence as projected to serve as immediate solution to the poor water situation in their areas.
This local government, since creation, many decades, our greatest problem for life to sustain humanity has been lack of potable water. The dam is infested with flukeworm, Schistosoma hemostobium species, and everybody rely on the dam as the only source of water. And it's giving us a big problem that on our side, we are ever ready to give our 100% goodwill for any project initiated by the World Bank in this local government to strive.
The economy is very, very important to this community because our problem as a community is water. Community is the highest populated community in the whole Benue State.
State Project Coordinator AgriSal Victor Ama, Commissioner for Water Resources, Environment and Climate Change Ogo Odo, Chairman Gwe West and Otukpo Local Government Area Henry Agba, and Alfred Okete formed part of the inspection team. Winifred Yoso, BENUE Television News, Makudi.
We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you some national stories. Welcome back. The federal government has, through the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, NSIWC, summoned a meeting of the Tripartite Committee on the new national minimum wage for tomorrow, June 4. The last meeting of the committee ended abruptly on May 31. This was after the organized labor negotiating team walked out following the government and organized private sector OPS refusal to go beyond the 60,000 naira they had earlier offered. BENUE Television News gathers that tomorrow's meeting will be by 10 a.m. According to sources, the government is alarmed by the level of compliance and participation by workers in the first day of the indefinite nationwide strike. The Parliamentary Staff Union of Nigeria, PASAN, Monday shut down the National Assembly in compliance with the indefinite strike action declared by the organized labor to press home demand for living wage for Nigerian workers. The two gates of the assembly complex were shut by the union, with workers and other visitors unable to gain access. It was reported that electricity and water supply to the two building housing the Senate and House of Representatives, as well as other facilities in the complex, have been shut down by the union. Committee activities scheduled for Monday, such as revenue monitoring hearing by the House Committee on Finance, was cancelled as a result of the strike. Some auxiliary workers at the complex who reported for duty could not gain access, while union officials were seen ensuring compliance with the strike action. At phase 1 of the Federal Secretariat housing the Ministries of Labor and Employment, Communication, Niger Delta, among others, some union leaders were seen going in and out to ensure that no staff was in the office working. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has announced the complete shutdown of Nigeria's power grid by labor unions as the strike by the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress begins. NLC and TUC commenced a nationwide industrial action Monday to protest against the 60,000 naira minimum wage proposal by the federal government. Announcing the shutdown of the national power grid in a statement issued Monday morning by TCN spokesperson Ndidi Mba, the transmission firm said the action was deliberately done by the workers. On the power generating side, TCN said the power generating units from different generating stations were forced to shut down some units of their generating plants. The Benin transmission operation under the Independent System Operations Unit of TCN reported that all operators were driven away from the control room and that staff that resisted were beaten, while some were wounded in the course of forcing them out of the control room. Without any form of control or supervision, the Benin Area Control Center was brought to zero. We'll take another break. We'll be back shortly. It feels good to know you're still watching BENUE Television News. But I'll bring you some international stories. After suffering a stunning blow last week's election, political analysts said South Africa's ruling African National Congress, ANC, has begun closed-door negotiations with its political opponents to begin talks about forming a coalition government. The Electoral Commission, IEC, Sunday announced that elections in South Africa were free and fair, but in no single party gaining an outright majority. The final election results confirmed the NS's decline in support to just more than 40% of the vote, far less than the absolute majority it had for the past 30 years after bringing about an end to apartheid. Parties have a 2-week deadline to elect a president. An analyst said the ANC would likely need to concede to an array of demands to bring others on board for a coalition government. The ANC held a meeting of its national leaders on Saturday where they discussed coalition permutations and the possibility of forming a government of national unity. Pandit said such an arrangement would be reminiscent of the era of former President Nelson Mandela, who led a government of national unity from 1994 until 1997. Mandela was the president, with F.W. de Klerk, last apartheid prime minister, as his deputy. Leaders of the Inkatha Freedom Party, IFP, were part of the cabinet. Son of United States President Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, is headed to court on trial over the federal firearms case. The trial began with jury selection on Monday. This is the first time that a child of a sitting president will be a criminal defendant, coming shortly after another historic first. The trial of a former U.S. president after Donald Trump went to court over a vice center, on Hush Monday to pay adult famous actress Stormy Daniels. Trump was convicted in the case on Thursday. The younger Biden, 54, faces a 3-count indictment over making false statements about his drug use to buy a gun back in 2018. His indictment was filed on September 14, 2023, and brought by U.S. President Counsel David Weiss after a plea deal between Hunter Biden and Weiss imploded in July 2023. The deal would have erased gun charges in exchange for Biden pleading guilty to 2 tax charges. Under the deal, Biden would have avoided prison. However, since he would be first-time offender if convicted, he is likely to face a much lower sentence than the maximum stated. Since this is a federal case, Joe Biden could in theory pardon his son, but the White House has explicitly ruled out this possibility. And that's the size of the news, but before we go, the main stories again. BENUE government has partnered World Bank to aid farming communities. Federal government to meet level over minimum wage. American courts to try Hunter Biden over gun purchase case. And that's the much we have for you. Thanks so much for watching.